It is November 21st, 2020. We're here on the rooftop of the house at 3047 Governor Drive in San Diego, California, 92122. We're going to inspect the main sewer line. We're here on the rooftop to gain access into the sewer. We have our 3-inch original cast iron vent that leads to the 2 bathrooms that are back to back. A little bit of flaking here on the vent pipe. You can see some of that particulate coming down, but it's not blocking the line or anything like that. So here's the transition from the horizontal into the, from the vertical into the horizontal. The house is currently vacant. You can see there is a little bit of that flaked debris there in the pipe. Let's see if we can get our camera, make the right directional change here. I don't know if there's some debris in the way or if we're just getting stuck up on something. Let's see here. Kind of clogged up here for some reason. I think maybe some of that debris may have clogged up some more of the pipe here at this transition. We're going to wipe off our camera lens here and look back down here, see what's going on with that bottom piece of the pipe. So there's where the toilets dump into the line right there. There's the 2 T's back to back with each other. So that's right where the toilets dump in. Then we go down vertically a little bit more. And then right here we start to make the transition. And it does look like there's a lot of debris built up in the pipe there. So there's our transition. Here's the curve. Here's that mounded up debris. Probably still completely open. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and get the real estate agents to turn on, flush a bunch of water through both toilets so we can try to sweep through this turn. That might clear out some of this debris as well. If not, some of this debris will have to be possibly removed from the line either via magnet, opening up the vent, vacuuming it out, or hydrojetting and pushing it out to the street. So we're going to pause the video for 1 second. Okay, there are the real estate agents flushing the water for us right there. We're going to see if that water and the movements helps get the camera by this point and move some of that buildup. There we go. We just got the camera through there. There we go. It's kind of messed with our camera lens a little bit. There we go. It's opened back up. They're going to flush the other toilet. So we'll let this water drain down here for a second. So we're going to pause the video just for a little bit. Okay, so the water's slowing down here, and we'll check that when we come back in reverse here to see how bad that mound up looks. But we're going to continue down this cast iron pipe. So it's only a few feet, and we already come obviously outside the house already. The 2 bathrooms are close to that exterior wall, and it comes straight out. Now here's an original buried 2-way clean out. So a lot of times they built a home, they're not allowed anymore in California. They'd have a straight T, and that cap would allow you to go in either direction. We have to use directional fittings now. Actually, here we go. There's split T. So there's a hub right there. There's a hub right there. So it's still a single T. And then in the middle of it, there's literally a cast iron divider. So it's actually not great because it actually blocks a large cutting bit from being able to go in through there, but that's the kind of T that they utilize here. So we'll locate this to see where it's at on the property and mark it, and by the bushes or the dirt outside of the foundation wall. I doubt it's accessible, but we'll go ahead and look for that. So that's at about 26 feet here. So we're now going to continue down this original cast iron line. The house is vacant, so nobody's been using facilities. However, before we even started with the 2 flushes we just did now, we did run all the water when we first arrived here so that we could see that any of the portions of the pipe would have any sags or bellies, which are areas that hold water and don't drain out properly. Here's a little turn on the line. But so far the cast iron looks really good. There's very minimal amount of deposits or scaling or buildup inside the pipe. No other foreign objects or debris in the line, no root intrusions or anything like that so far. So everything looks really clean and good. We do have a clean out at the sidewalk, so they relined the pipe from the sidewalk out to the street. So there'll be some plastic pipe under the sidewalk and then a coated line after that. This right here, we're going to still across the front yard right now. Again, everything still looks good. Just minimal amount on the bottom and bottom sides of the pipe, but overall in very good condition. Okay, here's the original property line clean out. So right here we have a complete vertical pipe right here. So this horizontal pipe is ending, and this is going to be a few feet in front of the sidewalk, and it makes a complete transition to a straight vertical. So we may or may not be able to continue past this point, because when they use a hard 90 like this, it just cannot get through that point. So we do have one other camera that might be able to maneuver through there. We can give that a try. The only issue is we may have some trouble with that one getting by the debris that's on the bottom of the toilet vent stack here, so we'll see. But what we're going to go ahead and do right now is we're going to go ahead and push the camera right to the edge of this clean out and where it makes the vertical change, and we're going to go ahead and locate this on the property to see how far away we are from the sidewalk where there's the next clean out that the city put in. Okay, so we've located the sewer pipe. It's about 3.5 feet deep, and then this buried clean out T, which again is also the vertical transition, is just a little under 3 feet away from the sidewalk itself. And we've marked this area with some green paint denoting the path of the pipe, and then a large circle denoting right here this buried unexposed clean out. Obviously not necessary right now to bring that to surface. We have another one after that, but that's all new pipe. So we're going to try this other camera to get through there, because we still need to see if the rest of the cast iron that's on the vertical and then becomes horizontal again. It might even have a little bit of clay left before we eventually get to the work that the city did. So we want to verify everything looks good there. So we'll have to try with another camera. In the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pull this camera back to where the other clean out we found was, right outside the foundation wall of the house. So we're going to go ahead and pause and pull back the camera. Okay, so we've located this other buried two-way clean out right here. Again, kind of hard to see on the top of the screen, but that is an indent there in the top, curving going up. So this is just past the foundation wall of the house, outside in the dirt, about a foot before you get to some of the concrete driveway. We've marked the pipe with a green paint circle, and the pipe is about 2 feet 1 inch deep, so it's about 25 inches deep to the bottom of the pipe. So again, the pipe's all in good shape right here. Shouldn't be need to ever expose that clean out, but if there ever became some issues because of how steep the roof is, most plumbers are not going to come up on the roof to clean out a main sewer issue, so that would be another access point if ever needed to be dug up. So we're now going to go ahead and pause, and we're actually going to move over to the laundry kitchen drain. Okay, so now here on the rooftop on this side of the house, and we have this vent right there, which is for the kitchen. We're not going to be able to go down through that one because it's going to go around the windows with a series of 90s or 45s to get into the drain. The laundry is going to be a straight vertical drop right here off the garage for this vent. So this is the one we're going to go down, because obviously after the laundry goes in, it connects within just a few feet of the kitchen. There is no clean out for the kitchen on the side of the house. On the outside, you would have to clean it out from underneath the sink, that's all. So we'll see if we can make it down through all these pipes Gonna have a little bit of cobwebs as usual. Let's see, okay, we're gonna see if we're blocked with flakes there or if it's just some buildup. So we're gonna pull the camera out and clean off the lens of all that debris. Okay, so we'll go back down this laundry vent here. Yeah, you can see it's flaking apart just like the sewer vent was in certain spots. They're getting corroded. And yeah, it's actually blocking a good portion of the laundry. So that's the T-junction right there that picks up. We would have the standpipe in the garage, so you can see there's a decent amount of little flakes right there, but the line does make a turn, so we might be able to get through some of that. There we go. There we go. Just push through some of that. So we are going to recommend that the standpipe, which is only 1.5 inches in size because of the age of the home, that's how it was built, we're going to recommend that that be replaced and upsized to 2-inch. Even though the access from the T in the wall is 1.5 inches, the trap and standpipe can still be enlarged to 2-inch, and that will also allow for some of that debris to be cleaned out of the vent pipe material that's flaking across. Got a little bit of cobwebs and debris in the line right here, but we're going to keep pushing through. We can see that it's open. There's a lot of spiders living in the line. Now, we may have already come into junction with the kitchen, or we're getting very, very close. So what we're now going to do is we're going to pause for a second and run water through the kitchen, which will help clean off this lens here and see if we've reached that point where they become one pipe. Okay, we have water running through the kitchen. We don't see anything yet, so now we can see a little bit on the bottom of the screen. I'm just trying to clean off our lens here. There's just so much cobwebs and debris. There we go. So we now are on the line. There we go. There's the T-junction right there. So here's where the laundry now dumps in, and the kitchen and the laundry become one pipe. And then it's going to run across here. We'll see if we can get all the way out. A lot of times there's going to be a lot of buildup in the kitchen line that's going to prohibit this 1-inch camera, even though it's a 2-inch pipe, from getting all the way out. We're going to leave the water running because sometimes there's just so much gunk it constantly backs up the lens. Okay, we're hitting a little spot right here where it looks like the water's flowing perfect and the pipe's relatively open, but it doesn't take much scale and build up for, again, this 1-inch camera to not make it through the line. We can see that it's open, so we may not get all the way with the camera all the way out where it junctions into the main, which isn't a big deal. We know it's functional and it's working here. So what we'll go ahead and do is we're going to leave the camera right here at this little edge, which it appears to have, we can kind of see as the water looms through, kind of cleans up, that there's just some buildup in the wall of the pipe, which is again going to be typical because it's cast iron pipe. So it's not that there's an object in the line. We'll see if there's some really heavy buildup that can maybe be cleaned up, but it doesn't look like just regular food or deposits. It looks like there's just a turn in the line and it's got some heavier buildup in the pipe right here that's not going to let this camera pass through. So we're going to leave the camera right here. We're now going to go ahead and pause and shut the water off and see what the view looks like downstream as far as we can go, since we can't push the camera by this point. Okay, so you can see that's what's going on. There's just a little weird ridge, some buildup in the cast iron 2-inch line right here. So we got a little pocket of holding water, and then as we go forward, it comes up to this little heavy ridge with some heavy buildup right there. And so it's in the perfect spot where it's just blocking this 1-inch camera from jumping through and over that basically and getting by. So the line is clear and open, as you can see down from there. Typically something like this, you could try to use a descaling chain knocker system or a hydro jetter to try to open it up, but it's really not necessary at this point in time. Again, that little pool of water didn't have any debris when we got here. If it was full of tons of food and grease just completely globbed up when we first pushed the camera through, we'd be a little more concerned. This is certainly an area that's going to cause some things to bind up possibly. I mean, not flow through the system real cleanly and lead to some occasional kitchen sink stoppages, but nothing like that needs to be dug up or repaired or anything to that extreme. So again, it's just stopping the camera from getting the rest of the way out, but we know that everything's flowing and draining out. As you can see, everything went through the system for all the water we ran through for quite a while, so it's completely functional. So we're going to go ahead now and pause the video and grab another camera to see if we can get through past the property line clean out in the front yard. Okay, so now I have a special camera that we're going to go ahead and see if it can maneuver across the front yard, past that property line, clean out to get past the rest of the cast iron pipe we've not been able to inspect. So we're going back down this vent right here. Take another look at this here as we come up to the transition. Looks like it got cleaned out pretty good just from the camera and the couple flushes in our movement. So that material got moved down the line pretty well there, it looks like. There's a little turn on the line. Our camera will act up just a little bit getting through here. There's some of that little buildup. Okay, we're now going to go ahead and continue to push down this pipe. This has all been seen before. It's not as clear as an image as the other one, but this 2 push rod system that we're utilizing will again hopefully let us get down and look at the rest of the cast iron pipe. Okay, another 10 feet or so will be coming up on that T-junction. Okay, here's the property line clean out right here. So now what we are going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and turn the water on. That sometimes also can help flow and move it through this turn and past this point just a little bit, help it direct it. So we're going to pause the video for 1 second. Okay, so we'll turn the video recorder on. Kind of hard to see, but we did make part of that vertical turn, but only the very beginning of it. And because it's such a hard 90, not a long sweep, smooth turn, it doesn't look like even with this specialty one, we're going to be able to get past this point. But we'll keep giving it a try. We're going to see the water that we have on cascading vertically down the pipe. So again, we're moving a few inches. Oh, there we go. We got through a good portion of the vertical. We're now at the very bottom where it then is going to make the next 90-degree turn. So there's another 90 here where it becomes then completely horizontal again, then runs for that few feet in either cast or clay, and then we'll connect to the new city pipe. So let's see here. Here's the end of the vertical. There we go. Now we're in the horizontal. We're looking across. Don't know if we're going to be able to maneuver through this, but again, we'll keep trying. See if we get lucky. We're going to pull back up a little bit. I don't think we're going to be able to push across this. So what we're going to go ahead and do is shut the water off, see if we can see down the pipe at all, and see if we can see to the next point where the pipe transitions. Just make sure there's no roots or anything else hiccuping. Obviously the water's flowing perfect, so we know it's functional right now. We just want to make sure there's no other issues for this next few feet, if at all possible. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to continue past that. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and pause for a second, shut the water off. Okay, we're really not getting much of a view, even with the water off. We just got a little residual going by. This camera lens is not one of the heavier duty ones to get through all these turns that we've had to add on. But again, from what we can tell, the line is draining obviously fine, so we don't expect that there's anything going on here past this pipe. At least we know the vertical is open, but we can't look at the rest of the horizontal. So we'll move down to ground level and we'll go ahead and show the newer pipe that was put in, and we'll show the area in the grass before the city sidewalk that we cannot inspect, that little bit of horizontal. Coming up that vertical, so you can see it's actually two very quick 90s. That's really the main part of the problem. So there's the first 90. We hardly had to back up at all. So if there was a little bit more vertical distance apart, we'd probably be able to push across this, but the fact that they're so tight, it makes it a very tight S-curve essentially. One quick 90, going down a little bit, and then just another 90. So that's why there's just no way we can verify and get through there, but we don't expect any issues there. So we're going to pause and move down to ground level. Okay, so we now moved over here to the front of the house, ground level. And so here's the green paint marks on the ground that we've made. That's the path of the pipe in this very large circle. That's the property line clean out where the horizontal line again becomes vertical. So we were able to look down that vertical, and then right underneath it we could see the transition across was open, but we couldn't see down the line at all. But there's only a few feet of about 3 feet of pipe from there, 2 feet or so to the grass edge, and then another foot or so barely to the sidewalk where we then have this new property line clean out that the city put in, but we still have the original one back here in cast iron, and again we couldn't get through all that. So this has all been replaced right here with plastic and then probably relined. So we're just going to show this the rest of the way out to confirm everything looks good. So there's the transition to the horizontal for the new relined pipe that the city contractor put in. You can see the numbers and letters right there on the pipe. Excuse me. So this runs across the frontage. We're now under the street. We're running across the street and we'll eventually dump into the city line here. So we're just going to verify quickly this is all redone cleanly and no issues, but there shouldn't be. So there is all smooth pipe. It used to be clay, and then they put this in and relined it. You go, there you go, you can see the letters and numbers there, the liner, and then as we go over that little hump, we then dump into the city pipe right there. So there's the T-junction for the large pipe where all the neighbors are then junctioning into. So all this pipe is good from the sidewalk out, which is what we expected, of course, but we just wanted to show it. So the only thing that can't be seen is a little bit of the kitchen laundry line for maybe about a 10 to 15 foot run barely before it dumps into the main, and then a few feet of the main right here in the front yard. But everything is draining perfect, so we hope there's obviously no issues in the front yard mostly, but it's unlikely there's anything major going on there. But again, the only way you could ever verify that, unfortunately, would be to eventually put in a clean out here at this property line here in the grass where we have this large paint circular dot. So there is already a cap on the line. You just have to dig up about 3.5 feet to get to it. You could then cut that cap off and extend it with a vertical pipe to ground level and then inspect the rest of that few feet of pipe from there on out. But so here's the T right there. That's what's coming from the house as we look across here, but there's no way to maneuver through that and go in the opposite direction, because you can see as we're hanging vertically down, there's no opening to let you go right or left. You go with the direction of flow only, which is this way and out, which we just came from. So we pull this back out again one more time. So again, the only piece we couldn't get for the main sewer is this little bit of run right here, essentially to this green dot. That's basically it. That would need to be dug up to eventually one day look at the rest of that. So if there ever was a stoppage, then you'd want to go ahead and dig this up, or dig the one up that's by the front of the house. So we're going to pause real quick, and we will show the one at the front of the house that we painted for that two-way clean out. Okay, so again, here at the front of the house, right behind this wall here is the two bathrooms, and the sewer line comes out. So right on the edge, almost straight across from that beam that holds this little brick facade, here's this circular green paint dot that we've got, so you can see almost directly in the middle in between the little beginning of the driveway and that block. So right there at about 2 feet deep, that's where the other buried two-way original cast iron clean out is. So if there ever was a mainline stoppage, again, because the roof is so steep, this is what you would eventually need to probably expose to do that. If there was an issue farther out by the sidewalk with that little bit we couldn't undone, you'd want to bring the other one to surface. So that concludes the recording for this property.